I think this has been an excellent move. But to explain it, if I may.
Yes, please.
I think I should tell you, for your audience particularly, a little bit about this treaty. Let's understand it. This treaty was overly generous to Pakistan, and I'll just give you 3 or 4 facts which would set it in perspective. You know, India has 40% roughly of the catchment area of the Indus Basin.
Sure.
But under the treaty, we are providing Pakistan with as much as 80% of the water and keeping only 20% for ourselves.
Right.
The second thing that I think everyone needs to understand is that already West Punjab at the time of partition was heavily irrigated. They had about 140 canals there. We had 12.
Right.
And as against about 21 million acres of land irrigated there, in India only 5 million were irrigated in the Indus Basin. So really this treaty, to have been fair, would have demanded that much more of the irrigation that was being created was created in India. And this did not happen.
Right.
Add to this the fact that we paid Pakistan as much as $175 million
In 1960.
in 1960 over a 10-year installment period, of course.
Right.
But we paid 170, it was then 62 million pounds, but translates to $175 million. They got as much as $900 million in the Indus Basin Fund, which was provided by the international institutions, by donor countries. USA provided around $450 million. So we were the second largest donor.
Oh my God. Okay.
And that was they built Tarbela Dam, they built Mangala Dam, they built 500 miles of canal works.
With our money?
With our money, and some of those canals, 10 or 15, were double the carrying capacity, double the size of the Potomac.
Oh my God.
So this is the amount of, shall we say, monies and goodies that we gave to Pakistan for free. In fact, I'll add this, which is give you some idea of the very bad relationship and bad faith in which Pakistan conducted itself on many issues, including water.
Right.
On water, there was an inter-dominion agreement between India and Pakistan in May 48.
Okay.
Under the inter-dominion agreement, we agreed to provide water to Pakistan with some diminutions, but agreed to provide it. And they understood at that time, they said they understood that India would need to irrigate.
Okay. And build more canals in East Punjab.
They gave that up within a year.
Right.
They objected to anything we did. And in terms of payments, we said you'll have to pay 3 charges.
Right.
You will have to pay royalty charges. You will have to pay cost of maintenance for the canals because we were supplying the water through headworks, etc. Madhopur and Firozpur.
Yes.
You will have to pay the maintenance costs, and you will have to pay interest charges. They refused to pay the first and the third.
Okay.
And in fact, they didn't make any payments till 1960, till the treaty was signed. And the amount was not terribly large. It was around 140 lakhs by 1960.
Right.
They ended up paying only 60 of that also.
So there you are. So they were going back on everything possible.
And very bloody minded about it. So, and furthermore, the treaty itself is a bad treaty.
Right.
The treaty is a bad treaty because all the obligations are on India. We are the upstream.
It's a one-sided completely.
It's a one-sided. Any projects that we had to undertake, we were only allowed a small utilization on the western rivers total utilization of the eastern rivers.
Right.
But even the works that we tried to put up
On the eastern rivers.
on the western rivers.
On the western rivers. So small work, whatever.
Small works, they would take it into negotiations.
Right.
They took it to arbitration. They took it to a neutral expert and
Right.
so forth. One of the projects with which I dealt with in the 80s
Right.
was a very small, and this gives you the pettiness of Pakistan.
That's right.
This was a very small project called the Tulbul Navigation
Oh
Project.
yes, a very famous name.
It's a 20-kilometer thing along the Jhelum from Sopore to Baramulla.
Right.
Okay, 20. All we wanted to do was to increase the depth of that thing to about 4 feet, not great depths.
Okay.
And to have a clean channel so that timber is floated down the river.
Right. So the
They
transportation
objected to
is
it.
easier.
They objected to it, and the project never got
Never
done.
got. Yeah.
Another one, which was a very major project, which had been conceived of in 1920.
Okay.
This is on the Chenab.
Yes.
It was the Salal hydroelectric project, I
Right.
think 800 MW or something like that. It was a big project.
Right.
Conceived of in 20, we took it to Pakistan under the treaty around 68 or 70. It saw the light of day only in 1998 or thereabouts. It was finally commissioned, the phase 2, in 2007 or 2005.
Right. Yeah.
But in the negotiation process, they delayed. At least 10 to 15 years delay was done thanks to Pakistan. And since we had to concede to them, we actually damaged the project in having it, because they said the spillways should be reduced from 40 feet to 30 feet. And the
On the Salal Dam.
On the Salal Dam. And the sluice gates, which are essential for all dams,
Right.
to preserve them, because silting takes place, so you clean them out, you
Sure.
flush water.
Correct.
The sluice gates were permanently blocked.
Oh no. So which means the dam then
Dam
is
is now of little use. But the same thing happened on subsequent dams, which they took to neutral expert, arbitration and so forth.
Right.
You know, Baglihar, Ratle, etc., etc.
All of them.
All of them. So all our works that were permitted under the treaty, because design objections were raised, which were frivolous design objections. Even one of them which they took to neutral expert. After 3-4 years, the neutral expert said, yes, the Indian position is more or less okay. 90% of what we are doing is fine.
Yeah.
Delaying
But the
tactics.
delay, yeah.
The delaying tactics, and there's a cost.
Yes.
I mean, this whole exercise has become a racket for neutral. You spend millions of dollars.
Oh yes, in the arbitration and the legal fees.
Court of arbitration, 7 members.
them.
Neutral experts.
Correct.
3-4 years. Everyone's having fun and
bond,
games
yeah,
at the
exactly.
expense of India and Pakistan. Of course, Pakistan doesn't mind. Pakistan doesn't mind because
Anything that damages India
anything that
is okay.
you Nitin, you know Pakistan.
No,
very
no, I
well.
don't know Pakistan.
You are absolutely right. Absolutely
Exactly.
right.
So now that we have done this, which was anyway, der aaye durust aaya, as they say in Hindi. How does Pakistan, obviously they called it the act of war, I mean their Prime Minister has said this, but how does it now work going further?
No, actually, I'll be very upfront with you.
Yes.
I have always advocated for decades now, since 2000, 2005, I've been saying that this treaty is so bad that it needs to be junked.
Right.
Because it is an unequal treaty and injurious to India, and it hasn't achieved one of the things that perhaps, and I'm giving Prime Minister Nehru benefit of doubt, one of the things that he probably had in mind was that this will improve the relationships.
Yes.
In fact, to our chief negotiator who wrote a book on this, Mr. Gulati,
Right.
in his book he has written that when I went to see him in the last day when Gulati was in office, he said, you know, we did this treaty with some objectives in mind, but you see we have got nowhere, which meant that he was very disappointed at the state of relations.
Right. This is Mr. Nehru or Mr. Gulati?
Mr. Nehru.
Mr. Nehru.
Mr. Nehru told Gulati.
So he realized it.
He realized, but it was, so I have always felt this treaty serves no purpose because it has not improved relations with Pakistan. It has stymied all our efforts to even utilize the limited uses that we are permitted under the treaty. Because they take it into long drawn out negotiations, they take it to neutral experts, they take it to arbitration. In fact, one thing which was settled by arbitration has gone back to arbitration, another neutral expert. So I mean,
it just goes on and on. There is no
why have a treaty like this?
Correct.
And the very purpose of the treaty was to achieve goodwill and good relations.
Which obviously hasn't happened in the 65 years, nothing has happened.
So my view has always been, and I am delighted with what the government of India has now done. I am delighted that we have placed this treaty in abeyance, and I think it's an excellent move from our point of view.